Hey guys, well, if you're here, you see the title of this video, you already know what it's about, so I'm not really gonna do any sort of intro, so I'll just get right into the story. So last Wednesday, I had an appointment with my psychiatrist, and since my first medication that I was taking to treat my anxiety and my depression, it was Paracetamol, otherwise known as Paxil. It didn't really do anything for me, so we decided to go with this. Was it gonna zoom in on it? Do I have to move it a little closer? No, maybe. I don't know. It's venlafaxine, otherwise known as Effexor, and I was told to take a half a tablet 2 times a day for the first couple of days, and then take a full tablet 2 times a day that every day after that. So I figured since it was already in the afternoon, I figured I would start the next day, start fresh in the morning with it. So I take it in the morning on Thursday, and roughly like 3-4 hours later, I start feeling nauseous, which I kind of figured that was going to happen. It happened with my last medication, so I just, figured it was a normal side effect to have. But then I started having more side effects. I lost the ability even further to sleep. For those who don't know, I do already have trouble sleeping. It's undiagnosed, but I do have restless leg syndrome. It is a thing. But this gives me like really bad insomnia to the point where I just can't sleep at all. Because normally with my legs the way they are, I eventually fall asleep after just simply just being exhausted. With this, I'm exhausted. I can't sleep. Then there is the lack of appetite. One day, I only had 2 crackers. 2 crackers. And that's only because I had to force myself to eat it because I have to take this stuff with food. Or else, it'll probably make my stomach even worse. And I was also, because of those things, I was feeling very weak. Obviously, with lack of sleep, lack of any sort of food. I can't really move around too well, nor do I really feel like it with the mood it's already putting me in. Then, of course, come the chest pain, like the sort of like it's like a chest tightness thing, and that wasn't pleasant at all. But that wasn't the worst of the side effects. Unfortunately, with all antidepressants, as it is supposed to, make your depression and your anxiety better, it also can make it much, much worse. And it did. It really, really did. Because what got me into this whole mess was one bad thought that I was having. I mean, generally, I do have a lot of bad thoughts going through my head, which is an issue I hope to correct in the future. But this one particular thought, it's kind of stuck with me since I had my mental breakdown late last year. And the thought is of me dying, and the thought of what happens afterwards and me being absolutely terrified of it. Now, what this medication did was made me think about it even more, and it was even more intense. Like, it made me like visualize like everything. And obviously that scared the hell out of me. I had to, have to calm myself down every single time. I had to remember to breathe. And eventually it would get so bad that I would just lose it. I would just cry uncontrollably. And essentially made me feel even more so like no matter what I do, no matter what I try, you know, nothing's going to matter. So, to make things even worse, I was dealing with this by myself. Um, my parents were gone, they were on a cruise. So, I didn't really have anybody to really help me out who could, physically be here. And when I'm already feeling that way, when I'm already feeling worthless, I feel even more like a burden to anybody and everybody. So, unless somebody reaches out to me and asks me how I'm doing, I'm not going to say anything. Because when I'm like that, I generally feel like a burden, like a problem to everybody else that I don't need to tell anybody about it because I don't want to make their day worse by me telling them about their problems. Obviously, I know that people care, but my mind just doesn't care about that either. So, my mom contacted me on Monday night, and I was still feeling nauseous, still with the chest pain, still everything. And I'm talking to her on the phone, and I just lose it. I just start crying. Wasn't really anything she said. Wasn't really anything she did. I just lost it. So, being the amazing person that she is, she tells me different things that I should do, different things I should try, to get my mind off of it. Obviously, take care of my dog and, do other things, watch TV, do, whatever. And, since I do have a really hard time with talking to people on the phone, regardless of whether I know them or not, and calling people or receiving phone calls is incredibly difficult. Like it's really hard to explain to somebody who obviously has no problem with talking to people on the phone. You just answer like it's nothing. But to me, it can be one of the most difficult things I can do. I don't know why. It's just a thing I've had for a long time, and it's held me back from applying to a lot of different jobs. But that's not the point. I'm getting way too far off track here. So, like I said, being the great person that my mother is, she said that she would call my doctor for me in the morning and also see if they have a psychologist there who I can see. And so the next morning, she lets me know that, she left my psychiatrist a message and, that he'll get back to me and that a psychologist will get back to me because apparently psychologists, they need to make the appointments. I can't do it. So that's already pretty nerve-wracking for me that I have to talk on the phone. So he calls the first time, and I was already exhausted. So I ended up passing out, and I missed his call. So I left a message, and yesterday he called me back. I told him about all of my symptoms and everything that was going on. So he told me to start taking the halves again and, just to wean myself off, and then to start another medication called Lexapro. I don't know if it's going to work. I honestly don't know, because hopefully third time's the charm. I don't know. it's incredibly difficult right now for me to be optimistic, which is really weird because I'm not used to feeling this way, and I've been feeling this way for a long time. So, like I said, I don't know if this is gonna work. Um, I'm supposed to pick it up at some point, but I don't know when, because I don't really feel up to driving or really much of anything. I mean, obviously, I'm dressed for the first time in about a week. Um, I took a shower, another first one in a week, so that was nice. I haven't shaved yet. I didn't didn't really feel like doing that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out. But with that all out of the way, my whole story. As far as my videos go, I do plan on getting back to that. Um, I'm not really quite sure if it's gonna be at all during this week or if I'm just gonna start it up again next week. Um, it's essentially when I feel up to doing all of this again. And I really want to get back to that because, as I've stated in the past, that was the one thing that was essentially keeping my sanity. And over the past week, I came pretty close to losing it. And I wish I was joking or exaggerating, but it got pretty close. So, Joe, just keep an eye on your subscriptions feed on YouTube. And if you can't follow me on there, go follow on my Twitter, because everything gets posted on there as soon as it gets posted on here. It's got a little nice thing on there where it has a little check mark for Twitter. So whatever sort of message I want to put in the video, I can just do that. My Twitter is at Dan S. Machina. I do have a Facebook, but unfortunately, I'm terrible at updating it, and I'm really annoyed that I can't have a check mark to where it posted for me. So I'm not necessarily gonna shut it down, but maybe I'll use it in the future once they decide to set that up. So I know that was a lot. I like to thank those of you who were able to sit through that whole story, who were able to sit through just my whole thing that I got going on right now. So, with everything being said, I do have one thing I would like to say before I end this video, because I wanted to say something motivational or inspirational or something along those lines, something positive. And what I have is this. One of my favorite movies of all time is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I'm sure I'm going to butcher this quote, but my favorite quote of that movie is, "Life moves by pretty fast. If you don't take a moment to look around once in a while, you can miss it." Essentially, what it means is to appreciate the moment. Appreciate your family, appreciate your friends, your pets, people you talk to online. Appreciate all of them. Because one day, sad truth is they're going to be gone. And you don't want to be left with that regret of thinking, oh, well, I should have spent more time with her, or I should have spent more time with my mother, or should have spent more time with whoever. So appreciate them, tell them how you feel, tell them how much they mean to you, because There's no guarantees in life. None at all. Nobody knows when they're going to go. So just keep that in mind, and I will see you guys next time.